Hey guys, I'm Jack Simpson, the current Australian Barista Champion.
And I'm Anthony Douglas, the 2022 World Barista Champion.
And we're here to show you a few tips on how to make espresso. So starting off from the Linear Mini, the Lamazocco, we're just going to purge our coffee machine first to disperse any grounds that are left on the shower screen. So the tips that I have for making coffee at home is measuring all the variables. So that means weighing the coffee that goes into the handle, weighing the espresso that comes out, and the time that it's extracting for. So the first step here is getting the right dose. So for me, 21.5 grams. So we've got that there. I'm using a little distribution tool here. And this is basically just so I can evenly distribute the coffee out into the basket. So we can see there, it's pretty flat, but there's still a few mounds and a few divots in the handle here, in the basket. So I'm gonna use another tool, the auto comb, to distribute this as much as I can and make it as even as possible. So the water always finds the path of least resistance. So as many steps as I can take to reduce that and try and make that as flat as possible before I tamp and put pressure on the coffee, the better. So next, we've got that nice and flat. And I'm just going to use a tamper to apply just an even pressure and making sure it's nice and flat here. It's clean on the sides. Next, we're going to move into the machine. So I'm going to use my scales as well to weigh out 40 grams of coffee. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the yield as well as the time. So a good base point is 25 to 30 seconds of extraction time. So I'm just going to stop it just before it hits 40, so it trickles over to 40 grams at the end. Perfect. That's it.
So one of the biggest things a lot of home users struggle with is steaming beautiful quality milk. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how I go about doing that. Very first thing we want to do is we want to purge our steam wand. And that's going to remove any built up condensation that we don't want diluting our milk. From here, pull the wand out towards yourself. If it's a cool touch wand like this, you can grab it comfortably. However, if not, make sure you use the rubber grip that it usually comes with. So wand comes straight out towards you. Make sure it's not on any weird angles that work against you in the steaming process. From here, we've got a double jug of full cream milk, and it's filled up to about where the spout meets with the jug. So a double jug is usually easier to work with because it's a little more forgiving. It takes longer to steam and allows you to really build those fundamentals. So from here, we're going to lock the spout in to the steam wand like so. Everything's in one straight line. So we've got the handle of the jug, the spout of the jug, and the steam wand, all in one straight line. So this is our starting position. And from here, it's 3 steps. It's in the middle. So it's directed straight into the middle of that milk. The tip is half submerged, so we're going to get our foam in straight away. And then all we need to do now is just tilt it to the side a little bit to create a spin. So in the middle, half submerged, off to the side. We're going to engage the steam wand at full power, and we're positioning it so we're gently letting that air in. You can hear a slight hissing sound. We've got a nice spin happening as well. That's breaking down those bubbles, turning them into microfoam. Once you have enough volume, we're going to slide the jug up just a little bit, keeping everything on the same angle. And when it's hot to the touch, we're going to turn it off. So we're aiming for about 60 to 65 degrees. Now, once you take your jug out, the very first thing you want to do is wipe it. If that starts to dry, it becomes a bit harder to clean later on, and give it a little purge. So you can see just looking at the milk here, it's really beautiful and silky. There's not a single bubble. We don't need to sit here tapping our jug, trying to remove any bubbles from the milk. Now, another thing that a lot of people struggle with is when they pour their milk, it's separated. So you notice I'm swirling my milk constantly. It's the very last thing I do before I pour. I'm going to pour just a little bit more than half the milk into this smaller jug. That's my split jug. and pour some of that foam back. And now I should have the same milk and the same foam in each of those jugs. Once again, spinning my milk. I'm going to swirl the espresso to break it up. When you're pouring coffee, the only two things you need to remember is at the beginning of the process, pour high and slow so the milk slips below the crema, lifting up that color and flavor. Stop for a second and then pour low and fast when you want to do your latte art. And pull it through like that. With Homelessness Week coming up at AXIL, we're proud to be CafeSmart partners and use coffee as a force for good.
So we will be donating $1 for every coffee sold at all of our AXIL venues. So come down on the 16th of August and we hope to see you there.
And if you're trying our coffee tips, enjoying a warm cup of coffee at home, consider paying the coffee forward online.